Hey everyone, it's a rare warm day. I don't think we have a whole lot of these left, and I want to cut some greenery to make my own wreath. I made my own wreath for the first time last year, and I'm looking forward to making another one this year. Let's go check on the tunnels before we head out. Need to get them opened up a little bit. I can see a ton of condensation. It's super warm, so they need to breathe a little bit. Green things. Oh, looks good in there. Looking good. So I can't get the gator started. This is an issue because I've got a pain in my back right now. Really wanted to do this while it was nice outside. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let me put some thought to it. Be back in a little while. So I'm gonna have to charge the gator's battery again, I guess. And so just brought the excursion to the back. Sawyer is with me. Yeah, he's gonna do a little filming while I do some cutting. Aren't you, buddy? Here you go. So I don't really have a specific type of branch I'm looking for. I don't want to take too much off of any one particular tree. At the same time, there's a lot of smaller trees that would be great for greenery because they're pretty green, and we don't need smaller trees coming up. So we're just going to kind of walk around, see what we can find.
We need small oak trees.
Well, I meant pine trees, honey. So I have some bypass pruners with me, and let's go check out. You hanging out? So these are young cedar trees here. Right here. I'm not going to cut any of those. They're really... I'm stuck on a... Look at this. Ah! Wild rose bushes. So I'm not going to actually cut any of those. They're really not in a good spot. Can you hold it a little higher? They're really not in a good spot at all. The problem is, though, that cedar trees take forever to grow, and so I always hate cutting any of those. Look at this. This is wild rose bushes, rose hips. I just liked the little red berries here. They're starting to not be real pretty. There's a really black one right there. But I think if I can use a little bit of it, I think it'll be pretty in my wreath. Got a little bit of cedar trees. I wonder if we can dig some of those up. Some of them are really small. That means the root systems are probably pretty small. This is a good example of what I was saying. So if you look right here, there are about a dozen baby pine trees right here. And we do not want well, that's just right here. Look, there's even more down that way. So we do not want this to be an additional pine forest. So this is a good spot for me to trim from and to take some of this greenery because these don't need to be here anyway. Should have brought a bucket. Usually I have the gator and I just stick them in the back of the gator. If you're local to me and you ever need a baby pine tree, I will show you where to dig. Isn't that right, Betty? Because we have way too many of them. All right, so getting us a handful of pine here. I do want some cedar. What is it with me getting stuck in things today? I do want some cedar, but I'll be a little more cautious about where I take that from. I wouldn't mind having a couple of pieces with pine cones if I could find some good ones. I'm kind of keeping an eye out for a good end piece that has a pine cone.
Oh. I didn't get them all.
All right. Whoops. Okay, let's go this way back into the car. Let's see. Go up this way. I'm wearing Isabel's shoes and they're full of seeds.
But you need to get you some rubber boots.
Well, I have rubber boots. They're just easier to slip on and off.
Doesn't matter how easy they are, only if you're comfortable.
Oh, is that what it is? What's this one? Got a little bitty pine cone right here. It's kind of cute.
No, it's not how little it is. It's because it's broke off.
Well, it's not going to be able to focus if you're that close.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Well, if you're that far away, you can't see it. When you trim from a tree, are you paying attention to where the camera is? When you trim from a tree, if you're not planning to take the whole thing, you're just harvesting a part of it or pruning it, you need to make sure you cut to where there's a pretty good sized branch coming off of it. So for example, let's see, this one here. All right, so if I was going to cut here, if I wanted part of this branch here,
Yep.
I would want to cut all the way up to here or cut just a part of this right here so that there's still a lot of branch there.
One with the little one
Yeah.
goes all the way up to that big branch up there.
Oh yeah,
So you can focus to it so the tree doesn't die.
That's right. We don't want to kill the tree. When I was a little girl, we always had fresh trees for Christmas. We never had artificial trees. We have artificial trees now ever since Matt bought the first Christmas tree for our family in '99. We have had an artificial Christmas tree. But growing up, I always had real ones. Matt never had a real tree. So when I was a kid, we would sometimes just buy our tree from a tree lot. But a lot of times we would just go out and we'd harvest one. And many times it was cedar because that was what was available in our area. And they make really pretty Christmas trees. And I think a lot of people used to use cedar trees more than they did pine or spruce back in the day.
Also, cedar is really good fort material.
Oh yeah, we can't forget fort material. All right, that should do us. So we have this cedar tree that's in the front, and it has this ivy growing on it, but it also has this, which I think is also a kind of ivy, but it's different looking. So I'm going to trim some of that. Here. Last year part of this had broken out, and it was, my husband had to cut, you can see part of where it was growing right here, and it broke off, and my husband cut part of it up, and I was able just to harvest off of that. But this year it's a little more difficult to reach for. Let's see. It's like, look how funny that's growing. I don't know if I'll be able to use that one or not. I think these little pieces of ivy are so pretty. This one's kind of thick. I'm having a hard time finding any with thinner branches because the thinner they are, the easier they are to manipulate into the wreath frame. Okay. Well, here's all the stuff I need to get moved out to the table. What are you doing up there? Trying to sleep. We don't sleep in trees. Silly goose.
I slept in my stand.
Well, that's not a good idea. So here's all of our greens. So here are all of our greens. And here's my wreath frame. You can pick these up at any craft store like Joann's or Hobby Lobby, Michael's. And we're going to work on weaving these in. We're not doing gator rides. It's broke. Come here. Come here and tell everybody it's your birthday. Come here, Meme. Come here. Tell everybody it's your birthday. Say, I'm birthday girl. I'm birthday girl. Yeah. I'm birthday girl. See, it's so pretty. 4-year-old baby girl today. Yeah. See, birthday girl. So I'm just going to start taking some of this greenery and trying to trim it down and weave it in. Got these cute pine cone ones will kind of wait towards the end. So like this is a pretty nice looking branch. So I go for a very rustic look on my wreaths, and I'm just gonna start trying to weave these in. I'm okay if it kind of goes everywhere. If you want a really neat wreath, you might need to get some floral wire to try to wire the pieces into place where you want them to be. But since I'm not too worried about that, I'm okay with them being kind of crazy. I didn't bring any floral wire out with me. If I get to where I wish that something was staying where I wanted it to go, then I might go get some, but more than likely I'll be fine. So I'm kind of starting with the pine. I'll throw some cedar in too in a minute. And I'm not putting any of the pine cone ones in just yet because I want to save those until I see where they fit best towards the end. Disclaimer here, I've never had a wreath class, so if this isn't how you were taught to do it at some special class or something, I'm sorry. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just trying to beautify my front door and offer advice to anybody else who'd like to try the same by foraging from their land. Once you start getting some of the greenery into place, you can also use some of those pieces to help hold your ends in. That helps a little bit. If you would get to where you need to trim some, I've got my bypass pruners out here so that if I need to trim some ends, I can. But I can use the edges of the frame and also some of the stems to kind of tuck in behind. So as I'm putting some of the cedar in, you can see that this is really starting to get a nice rustic look to it. That's the look I'm going for. I want it to be nice and splayed out and very wild and natural looking. We're getting quite a nice shape going here. I'm going to add just a little bit more and then I'll probably put the ivy in and then try to plug the pine cones in. In an effort to make sure I had enough string to hang it, I made it too long. All right. So there's my wreath. I was planning to put a bow like right about here. It's kind of pretty though. I may not. I'm really not sure. What do you think, Isabel? Leaf. Leaf? What does leaf have to do with anything? You're so silly. All right. Well, that's how I make a rustic wreath. I'm so glad you hung out with me today, and and we will catch you next time. Have a blessed week.
It's tragic and lovely, I'm so near undone. Let's open these windows, make love to the sun. You've shaken and shattered me, collected and scattered me.